this is the bit that people aren't going to like about this new property letter system, and I'll step further into it when we think about the tracking system on the licenses. So your property letter is only applicable to that one that you have. So
Mhm.
I give you a letter, an authority to shoot on my property. Your firearm is only allowed to be used on that property.
Mhm.
And if you want to shoot on my mate's place, you'll have to get one from him. But then this is going to eat up the producer's number of uh, authorities that they can give out. And it's still unclear that system about it, how many you're allowed. I think they're talking about five
Mm.
authorities for
Mm.
5,000 acres or something, and then they sort of stopped at that point. And you're like, well, hang on a second. If you've got someone who's got a million, um, and they're only allowed to give out five authorities, that doesn't quite work. Like, it's a long drive for my mates to come up here um, and go shooting, and it is usually a group of 4 or 5 people. So is it going to be like a time period thing? They were talking about saying that a property letter only lasts from 7 to 150 days. Now that part of it is now open to interpretation, and I'm speculating on this that I give you the authority for the week, and I can only give out 5 authorities for that week, and you can come up and you can shoot for those that your 7 days, and then after that you're not allowed to shoot up here unless I extend it. But I've got to register that through the portal and all of this. The One of the architects of this new act, Mr. Walker,
Mm.
had said that what he wanted to do is have point to point tracking in the application. So part of our licensing is going to be done through our phones, and they want to do it through the Safe WA, or I think it's the Safe WA app. So they're redeveloping the Safe WA app for your firearms license
The
to
same app
digitize
that we
everything.
used for the check-in during the pandemic. Is that the
Yeah,
same one?
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And they wanted to enact point to point tracking on that. Like he said that it was his goal that we'd have point to point. So then they could track if you've gone to a property that you weren't authorized for, um, and then penalise you for it because hey, you didn't get the authority for Joe's place. So they didn't quite get that one across the line, and they were a little bit dubious. Sorry, au fait with their responses to Louise Kingston. Sorry, the Honourable Louise Kingston, in regards to what ability the tracking would have. And in Hansard, if you look at the way that the question was answered, um, the, the answer that was given would be the type of answer I would give if I was going to say to someone that no, we aren't going to do point to point tracking, we will do consistent tracking, but not, it's in the little brackets down there. So there could be reading between the lines that no, they won't do point to point check in on it. They want to track you the entire way. And then that was confirmed by Mr. Walker's statements. So it is a concern that you will lose all privacy, and it's basically written into the act that you have no right to privacy if you own a firearm. You give up your right to free speech, you give up your right to privacy, you give up your right to say no to a warrant. I mean, it they say it's so that they can check and see if there are firearms in the car, and they can change the approach that the police have, but that it's going a little bit too far. I believe. I don't think that's really great. Um, so yeah, the that on that point about the conservation wildlife on public land, um, it would appear that you could have your firearm licensed, and then you'd have to get that permission from the landholder, being the or land manager, being the DBCA, DPLH, whichever an acronym you want to use on the day, to go and do that control program.
Yeah, so we're talking about WAPOL bureaucrats tracking the activities of volunteer pest controllers who are trying to help our farmers and volunteering their time on the weekend to come and help people like Jack, who own an enormous amount of property on this land. And there's been no issues, by the way. I just have to reiterate this fact. We are not the one causing the problems in this state with illegal firearms. There is a drug war here. This is a place that is known for issues with drug crime. That could be alleviated overnight if we decriminalise drugs, but that's a conversation for another day and probably with my friends in the Legalised Cannabis Party. But this is what we're talking about in WA. The police and the man hours spent tracking legal firearms owned by peaceful people doing a service to the community. This is where we are at here in WA. It's all Whaley stuff. I can't believe it. I love this state so much, and it breaks my heart to hear that this is where we're at. This is why we need to elect people like Jack from Shooters and Farmers and all the other minor parties who want to do the right thing by the people.